Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the FR 5.56 rifle, which is, of course, based on the real-life Famas. And it mirrors the real-life Famas in that it is an extremely fast-firing 5.56 weapon that the European forces, more specifically France, uses pretty commonly in the game. I'm going to call it the Famas throughout the rest of the episode because that's what the weapon really is, and I think I'll just get tongue-tied if I say 5.56 enough. So anyway, the Famas is a super powerful burst weapon, and it has the fastest time to kill in the entire game, excluding, of course, shotguns and sniper rifles that are instant. But of the weapons that you have to shoot people multiple times with, there's nothing faster than the Famas. This is an extremely strong gun, and I want you guys to pay attention to this in-depth episode because I think it's very greatly underutilized in the game. The damage is 40 to 32, which means it will kill between 4 and 3 shots, depending on how far away you are from the enemy. And if you're shooting people in the head, you get a colossal damage increase up to 64 damage for the head, and then decreasing down to 51 at long ranges. And that is a scary headshot number. That means that as far as I was able to test, the Famas will always 2-tap to the head. So if you're playing ground war or something, you can just swap it over to single fire and 2-tap somebody to head if you can catch them camping. There is no damage reduction for hitting limbs or lower stomach or any sort of extremities, which is very rare in this game. And I know I've said that 3 times in a row, but I just happen to have 3 times in a row found weapons that don't have these reductions, which is very uncommon. So you can burst people in the legs and kill them just as easily. The rate of fire is actually the same rate of fire as the real-life Famas at 1,000 rounds per minute, which is just bonkers fast. And it does have a burst delay of 300 milliseconds for its 3-round burst. And I put an asterisk on there because I measured this at 300 milliseconds. Exclusive Ace measured this at 225 milliseconds. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. We're getting different numbers all the time, even though we're doing the same things. But of course, there's a burst delay, so it's not going to fire at this constant 1,000 rounds per minute. The semi-auto is capped lower than 1,000, and I have a limited trigger finger. I was only able to get it up to around 500 RPM. It may go faster than that, but semi-auto is going to be a suboptimal way to use this weapon, except of course maybe picking people off of head glitches. But more importantly, let's talk about its time to kill. The time to kill of a 1 burst kill is the fastest killing thing in the game. No other weapon that I'm aware of, at least at this point in doing in-depth, is going to kill faster than a 1 burst Famas. This will put your enemies to bed as long as you don't miss any shots. However, the time to kill does, of course, get a lot worse once you start requiring multiple bursts because the burst delay just adds a huge number onto that and it just takes forever to catch up. So make sure you hit your shots and you just delete people instantly. And one of the things you're probably wondering right now is, hey Drifter, what's the 3-shot range on this weapon? Well, the 3-shot kill ranges of the base Famas is 28 meters, which is very good for a rifle. It's better than a lot of the rifles. And if you put the sniper barrel attachment on it, which is the only barrel attachment that will increase your range, you can go up to 35 meters. You can stack this with like a monolithic suppressor and get a couple more meters out of it, but I don't think that's worth it compared to just putting the sniper barrel onto the weapon. Famas aim down sights times, unfortunately, are a lot slower, they're a lot clunkier, and I think that they have to be this way to keep the weapon in balance. The base aim down sights time is very slow for rifles at 300 milliseconds. This is more like the Odin and AK ADS times. The commando barrel, if you put that on there, has 266 milliseconds. The ultralight barrel actually makes it slower somehow, and the sniper barrel makes it way slower at 400 milliseconds. So really only the commando barrel is going to help you out here. And there's a few other attachments we can talk about. The TAC laser will drop you down to 266. The stippled grip didn't actually seem to do anything, which was kind of weird. And the FSS TAC Wrap is also 266. Sprint out times are also going to be a bit on the slow side at 300 milliseconds for the base. And if you're going to put on a stippled or 5 milliwatt laser, you're looking at a colossal reduction for both of them at 216 milliseconds, which is just awesome. It's very effective on the Famas. So for this particular weapon, you can actually get significant improvements in both ADS and sprint out. There's no noteworthy caps or things that you don't really seem to be able to break through. So you can kit this weapon for speed, which is what I'm going to end up recommending later. And I don't think that's the developer's really intended way of playing with this gun, but man, it worked good for me. And on that topic, I wanted to show you guys some real hardcore news about Call of Duty, something that the mainstream Call of Duty media sweeps under the rug. And that is, of course, our Astro Gaming sponsorship moment of the day. The sponsored section is going to be short and sweet today. I had a very funny skit for you that was unfortunately deemed to be too offensive and too political. I really reached in deep to push the envelope and pushed it right over the table and made Astro very uncomfortable because the person that I was making fun of for this sketch was very litigious and they didn't want to be a part of it. There was not enough time for me to film and make a new unique one for this episode, so it just kind of ended up out of luck here, which is why I'm doing the green screen recording. So short sponsored moment, and I do want to let you guys know the hair bounty is over. There have been hundreds of headsets and controllers sold, but only 10 people voted for what color you want me to dye my hair. So far, green is the leading color, so I guess I won't be doing any green screen like this. I'll look like one of the meme guys with the sunken head because it'll just be invisible. But you're all welcome to tweet me, DM me on Discord, email, anything, just a picture of your proof of purchase and what color you want my hair to be. And next week, or maybe even by next time, it'll be done. So thank you for your continued support. Astro's been an awesome company. They've been making in-depth possible, and I would highly encourage you guys to click the link down there in the description and save yourself 5% on any Astro product in the entire store. This is one of a few rifles where your aiming stability is actually very important because shaking sights can mean missed enemies. If you shoot off target and you just like start off target just a little bit, that means that your other shots that kick up or to the side slightly will be increasingly off target and you can miss and you'll have to shoot again and it'll just massively increase your time to kill. For the majority of rifles and for the majority of what I've covered in depth, I've pretty much ignored aiming stability because it's not a very important stat for a lot of weapons, but it is very important for the Famas, and it's one of those things you should keep in mind if you want to use it at long ranges. And I'm going to talk about the recoil a little bit later on because it kind of ties into the class recommendations. When it comes to iron sights, I'm not a fan of these iron sights. You can use them up close, but generally speaking, you want some kind of red dot to absolutely maximize your accuracy because you cannot afford to miss a single shot and have to burst again because your iron sights look goofy. So put some kind of optics on there, whatever you want. Personally, I like the 1X red dots. The base magazine size is 30, which of course can be increased, but I usually avoid this because it can slow down aim down sights or mobility depending on what I do. And I know that Ace has measured this, and I've kind of looked into this in the past, and it just, the effects are minor, if any, but I want to avoid those minor effects because I'm going to be recommending a very different Famas than you might expect. And besides, with 30 rounds, that should be 10 people dead before you have to reload. Speaking of reloading, the reload time is 1.65 seconds, which is normal for rifles. There's nothing really exceptionally fast or slow about the reloading. And in my opinion, on the Famas, this is a god tier, underrated powerhouse of a weapon in close quarters. I initially, when playing with this weapon, I thought that I was going to be really bright. You know what? I'm going to kit this weapon for accuracy and for range, and I'm going to maximize my 3-shot kills, and I'm going to tighten up the burst. And even when I was kind of pre-filming my in-depth episode, I had thought that I'd really figured this out, and I was filming, and that's the gameplay you're seeing right now. I was filming myself comparing the performance of the regular Famas versus one that had the sniper barrel and all these recoil-reducing attachments. However, when I got into game and I started playing with this, I found that it just didn't work. Like guys, the long range accuracy God burst Famas just wasn't doing it for me. I couldn't get it to function. I couldn't make it competitive. Anytime somebody got close to me, I was so slow. I just got totally screwed. And I started experimenting with classes live on stream, as many of you saw. And what I realized is I was totally wrong about this weapon being best for range. What I should have done instead, and what I'm ultimately going to recommend, is kitting for aim down sight speed and sprint out for close quarters combat, because that is way better. The idea behind this is, within 28 meters, the Famas will always kill in one burst, and 28 meters is long enough. It's longer than most of your Call of Duty engagements. Like, especially on smaller maps, that's going to be pretty much any fight you have will be under that sort of distance. So instead of trying to like make sure that I can kill people super far away, I'll just make my gun really snappy so that I can lock onto them and dump that 1,000 rounds per minute downstream and kill them just almost instantly. And that worked super well. I just started shredding the moment that I did this. It was weird because the Famas is a little bit of a slow weapon and I couldn't treat it like an SMG and just rush balls to the wall. But as long as I could engage in combat in relatively close quarters, I could put down almost anybody that wasn't using a 725 shotgun. And the class I'm going to recommend is that class. 1X optics of some kind, the Commando barrel, which will allow you to aim down sights faster, the TAC Wrap, a stock, which will allow you to aim down sights faster as well, and the stippled grip and 5 mW laser. I'm aware that as I mentioned in the episode, that the stippled grip didn't actually help my aim down sights time, but it massively helped my sprint out time, and the 5 mW laser also massively helped the sprint out time. So these two together give me the best possible sprint out time for the weapon, and since I'm using it close quarters and I'm moving and repositioning, that's probably even more important than the aim down sights, because when you're close to people, you can kind of use it like a shotgun despite the less than optimal hit fire. And with this class, I was able to really tear up, and this is the one I would recommend. And the way I would recommend the Famas is just a sort of close range rifle alternative. It can't spray like the M4, but man, if you hit your burst, you are going to be deleting people. Guys, that is all for this in-depth episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.